Good evening. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Pro Wrestling Talk video brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming. Here on the YouTube, the Tube, I am your host, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. So, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door is in the books. And I have to say, another successful Forbidden Door show with these two promotions collaborating. So I wanted to get on here and give my review of the event. Had a total of 14 matches. There were a couple of changes to the overall card, but still turned out to be a really good show. Now, just to recap, this show was this past Sunday, June 25th, and this was at the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And yeah, it was quite a great show. So, interestingly enough, they had 14 total matches, 4 pre-show matches, and actually 1 dark match that they didn't broadcast. So, I'm going to first go over the dark match and the pre-show matches. So, starting off, originally we were supposed to get Filthy Tom Lawler versus Adam Cole, but due to Adam Cole having an illness, he was not able to compete at Forbidden Door. So, what I thought they ended up doing was canceling the match altogether, but actually, Filthy Tom Lawler still wrestled, but he wrestled in a dark match, and it was actually against Serpentico. So it was a one-on-one match. It was Filthy Tom Lawler, accompanied by Royce Isaacs of, one half of the West Coast Wrecking Crew, and he took on Serpentico. Of course, Luther was by his side, one half of Chaos Project, or they're now part of the Spanish Announce Project or something like that. But yeah, so that was the dark match, and apparently Tom Lawler did pick up the victory. Like I said, I wasn't able to see the match because they didn't broadcast it, but it is pretty cool that they at least still gave Filthy Tom Lawler some work. They still gave him a match, even though he wasn't able to wrestle Adam Cole. So, kudos on AEW at least giving him something. Which, I can understand, cards subject to change. Anything can happen. It doesn't always mean that they'll replace a match. Sometimes they have to cut a match. And it's totally understandable. Things like that happen. But, while they could have cut the match entirely, they ended up just replacing Tom Lawler's opponent. Yeah, it was a dark match, but hey, he still got to work. So, I'm all for that. And that is Thunder. Okay. Now let's actually get into the pre-show. So the pre-show was called 0 Hour. So, starting off, so now, this was originally supposed to be a trios match, but like I said, they had to make a few changes to the card. So, this actually ended up being an 8-man tag. So, this ended up being the Mogul Embassy, made up of Swerve Strickland, Bishop Kaun, Toa Liona, and the Machine Brian Cage. And they ended up taking on the team of Chaos and El Desperado. So Chaos made up of Rocky Romero, Trent Baretta, and Chuck Taylor with El Desperado. So that was the change that they made. So they just made it into an 8-man tag. So no harm there. A great match. It was really good to see Chaos in action. And, they were vibing really well with El Desperado. I was actually very pleased with the chemistry that the four of them had, which of course we know Chuck Taylor, Trent Baretta, they're the best friends. And of course Trent Baretta, Rocky Romero, Roppongi Vice. So already there's chemistry there. But they vibed really, really well with El Desperado. And then Mogul Embassy, ever since they came together, they've been working really well as a unit. And this was a very action-packed match to kick off 0 Hour. It was definitely back and forth. It really could have gone either way. But Swerve Strickland ends up picking up the victory as he pinned Rocky Romero after hitting him with a Swerve Stomp. And, it does make sense. He was able to bounce back after losing on Collision to the ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Which, it was really cool that he did get a chance to wrestle the ace, because I believe that was Swerve's first time wrestling the ace. So, hey, I thought it was really cool. Thought it was really, really cool. Okay, let's keep it going to the next match. All right, we had the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament quarterfinal match, as we had the ROH Women's Champion, Athena, going up against Billie Starkz. Now, I have to say more and more I've been liking Billie Starkz. She's definitely been getting better and better in the ring. Young, very talented, has a lot to look forward to in her career, and I believe she is something special, and I think she's going to be very successful. Athena, who has had one heck of a run as ROH Women's Champion, and her momentum definitely has yet to be halted. Now, while both ladies were back and forth, and Billie Starkz had some very, very good offense in this match. She came close. She definitely came close. But Athena shows why she's still the champ. And even though this was a non-title match, she shows why she is currently one of the best and why she's ROH Women's Champion. She was able to get the victory, pinning Billie Starkz after hitting, I don't know what her finisher is called, but she did like a Dominator into a Gut Buster. So I thought that was pretty neat, like a Dominator to the knees. I thought it was pretty neat. But Athena picks up the victory and advances in the tournament, and she will actually face Willow Nightingale in the semifinals. Because Willow Nightingale, she defeated Nyla Rose. So those two will meet in the semifinals. And of course, we already know that Sky Blue defeated Anna JAS to advance to the semifinals. So Sky Blue will await the winner between Ruby Soho and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. So still a lot to look forward to with the Owen Hart Foundation tournament for the women as well as for the men. So should be good. Should be really good. All right. Let's go to our next match. All right, we had a singles match. We had Stu Grayson versus El Phantasmo. El Phantasmo making his AEW debut. So I thought that was really cool. It was interesting how his entrance music was his old Bullet Club theme, but then afterwards they played his new theme. I thought that was really interesting. But this definitely went back and forth. El Phantasmo was the face in this match. And you know what? This was a pretty solid singles match. And, I've always thought Stu Grayson was good, especially with the Dark Order, but now it looks like he's joined the Righteous under Vincent. But this match was definitely back and forth. Got to see a good bit of high flying from El Phantasmo. Of course, we have to remember El Phantasmo, one former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champion. He's won a U.S. New Japan Cup, if I remember correctly. So yeah, definitely has the high flying ability, very good in the ring. But it was definitely a good singles match between the two. But ELP and El Phantasmo ends up picking up the victory in his AEW debut by hitting Stu Grayson with a CR2 and covering him for the 1-2-3. And then afterwards, they actually played his new theme. You know, his E L P, his new theme. They played that after the match, so I thought that was kind of weird. But congratulations to El Phantasmo on picking up the victory, and yeah, it was good to see that he got to make the trip for Forbidden Door. Good stuff. Okay. And then, let's see. Our final match of the pre-show, 0 Hour, came down to a trios match. We had United Empire versus LIJ. So United Empire, represented by TJP, Kyle Fletcher, and Jeff Cobb. Excuse me. Of course, TJP, one half of the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champs. But yeah, United Empire taking on LIJ, made up of Hiromu Takahashi, the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, Shingo Takagi, and BUSHI. BUSHI, my favorite member of LIJ, as weird and surprising as that may be to some. But this was quite a match to close out the pre-show 0 Hour. Definitely back and forth. Both teams look very solid. And, you know, I love both factions. I love United Empire. I love Los Ingobernables de Japon, LIJ. But these two teams looked really solid. I felt like both got a good share of offense. But when it was all said and done, LIJ reigned supreme over United Empire as Shingo Takagi gets the victory for LIJ after pinning TJP with a Made in Japan. So, overall, pretty solid pre-show. Like I said, it would have been nice to see Filthy Tom Lawler wrestle, but hey, he did have a dark match, so at least he still got to work. So that's good. But overall, 0 Hour was pretty good. Because my power went out a bunch of times, I actually had to go back after the main card to watch 0 Hour. So thank goodness it was on YouTube for free. So good stuff there. All right, before we jump into the main card, here's a quick word on the sponsored product, Game Beauty. As you continue to watch and enjoy Blitzball Champ gaming content here on the U to the Tube, be sure to check out the link in the description for Game Beauty, our sponsor. For an awesome lineup of video game themed makeup and cosmetic products, here is Game Beauty. They offer many different collections such as eyeshadow palettes, elemental pearl highlighters, and even this special Persona 5 Royal limited edition makeup collection. They also have free domestic and international shipping to most countries for orders over $60. And you can use the promo code BlitzballChamp and you get 10% off of your order for any and all purchases. So be sure to check out Game Beauty when you have an opportunity. Now, we shall return back to our regularly scheduled video. Enjoy. Okay, now for the main card of Forbidden Door, and it actually started off with a pretty big one. So, they actually kicked off the main card with the AEW World Championship match. which was the champion MJF defending against the ace Hiroshi Tanahashi. Now, to be honest with you, this match was all right. I know that the intensity did start to pick up about middle of the way for this match, but it was a good clash of styles, and really just a good clash of heel versus face, because of course, you know, early on we saw a good amount of offense between both competitors, and of course they were doing the air guitar back and forth, and just, you know, that was a thing. But overall, I thought it was a pretty decent match. Wasn't that big of a fan of the finish, but I could understand the type of finish. But I mean, it is what it is. It had to be done. I just don't like it, but it had to be done. But MJF was able to get the pin on Hiroshi Tanahashi to retain the title after had the referee distracted, put on the Dynamite Diamond Ring, and decked Hiroshi Tanahashi, knocking him out, then covering him for the 1-2-3. And MJF is still your AEW World Champion. Honestly, I'm pretty sure he's going to end up at least, I don't know, he's probably going to end up remaining champion, probably going into the end of this year, or maybe going into 2024. I don't know, but he's definitely been a great heel. But I mean, let's keep it real. He is still a coward champion. He's still a coward champion. You know, just gotta keep it real. Gotta keep it real. All right, let's keep it going. All right, time for the men. It's Owen Hart Foundation Tournament. This was another quarterfinal matchup. This was CM Punk versus Satoshi Kojima. And of course, CM Punk got booed like crazy in this match. To be honest with you, this match could have been better. This match could have been so much better. You know, Satoshi Kojima got in his usual offense. He got in, you know, a lot of strikes. He got in the, you know, the machine gun, knife edge chops. I mean, and even CM Punk did some of, you know, the repeated clotheslines and kept shouting out Kojima in the middle of that spot. I mean, CM Punk definitely was playing the heel in this match, you know, especially with him being in Canada. But overall, this match was okay. This match was okay. I can't say that this match was crazy great. Definitely a dream match for sure, but this match could have been so much better, personally. And even the finish was kind of weak, but CM Punk did get the victory, pinning Satoshi Kojima after hitting him with a GTS, but that GTS looked really weak. I don't know if it was just a bad sell on Kojima or just bad execution on Punk or a combination of the both, but the finish was kind of weak. It was kind of weak, so that was the only thing with that. But still overall, it was an okay match. It was an okay match. Okay. Next up, we had the AEW International Championship on the line in a fatal four-way. As the champion, Orange Cassidy defended against Daniel Garcia, Katsuyori Shibata, the ROH Pure Champion, and Zack Sabre Jr., the NJPW World Television Champion. I have to say, this was quite an interesting but great match. I thought it was kind of weird that they had Zack Sabre Jr.'s old entrance theme from when he was back with Suzuki Gun playing. They didn't play his TMDK theme, which that was weird. That was really weird. But overall, the match was really solid. Definitely felt like all four competitors looked really good in this match. Even Daniel Garcia with his constant hip thrusting and shaking and dancing and all that. Great spots from Shibata, Zack Sabre Jr., a lot of submission, attempts, and Orange Cassidy with his unorthodox offense. And honestly, it definitely looked like a match that could have gone either four competitors. But while Katsuyori Shibata took out Daniel Garcia with a PK, Orange Cassidy was able to sneak in, take out Shibata, remove him, and pin Daniel Garcia with a crucifix for the 1-2-3. And once again, Orange Cassidy, still your AEW International Champion, defeating 3 other greats. Orange Cassidy's on a roll, y'all. There is no telling who's going to be the one to dethrone him. There's just no telling. And it looks like Zack Sabre Jr. is interested in a one-on-one matchup with Orange Cassidy, and I'm sure Shibata is as well. I mean, definitely there was a moment with those 3 champions in the ring, and even good sign of sportsmanship between Shibata and Orange Cassidy. But Orange Cassidy's still on a roll, y'all. There is really no telling who could possibly dethrone him. I mean, he just successfully defended it in a Fatal 4-Way. Previously, he defended it in a Casino Battle Royal, or just in a Battle Royal. Orange Cassidy's on a roll. He is legit on a roll right now. So we'll have to see what's next for him, because, there's no stopping him. There's definitely no stopping him right now. He is on fire. Okay, next match. All right, we have the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. As the champ, Sonata of Just Five Guys defended against Jungle Boy Jack Perry. And of course, he had Hook accompany him. And I believe Sonata had Doki in his corner. If I remember correctly, he had Doki in his corner. So that was pretty cool. Good match. I thought it was a good match. Definitely thought it was a good match between both. I know they were attempting to put each other in the Paradise Lock, but of course Sonata eventually was the one to successfully do it. But both these guys looked really good. Even had Jungle Boy attempt an early snare trap. He almost had it. But definitely, for their first time going against each other, I thought they looked good together. I thought there was some good chemistry. And, Jungle Boy, he put in a good effort, came close. But Sonata would not be denied, as Sonata was able to pick up the victory, hitting the moonsault on Jungle Boy, pinning him for the 1-2-3. And Sonata, still your IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. And then as Jungle Boy and Hook were going up the ramp, Hook raised up Jungle Boy's hand. And then all of a sudden, Jungle Boy decks Hook with a clothesline. I have to be honest, I did not see that coming. But Jungle Boy turns on Hook. Therefore, for the first time in AEW, turning heel. Wow. Wow. So Jungle Boy turns heel, turns on Hook. And he held up the FTW title and then just kind of tossed it at him. But you know what? I think this all stems from the fact that Jungle Boy wants to be a champion, a singles champion, so badly. He's already been a tag team champ, of course, with Luchasaurus. But he's been wanting to be a singles champion for the longest time and just has come close on multiple occasions, but just hasn't been able to get the job done. And now, bam, he's turned heel and it looks like he's now eyeing Hook in the FTW championship. Now, I have heard rumors that supposedly WWE might be trying to, maybe interested in Hook. I don't know how much time Hook has left in AEW, but supposedly the word is that he may be going to WWE. And perhaps Taz, who's his father, might go with him. I don't know. But maybe this is eventually leading to them possibly writing off Hook and putting the FTW title on Jungle Boy. Just a thought. Just a thought. But I heard that was a rumor. So we'll have to see. But as of now, Jungle Boy Jack Perry is a heel. Turned on Hook. It's on now. It is on. That was quite a shock. That was quite a shock. I did not expect that. So that was nice. Well played. Well played. Okay, moving on. So next up we had the 10-man tag team match. On one side, we had the Blackpool Combat Club made up of Jon Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, the ROH World Champion Claudio Castagnoli, Shota Umino, and Konosuke Takeshita taking on the Elite made up of Hangman Adam Page, the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, Eddie Kingston, and Tomohiro Ishii, the Stone Pitbull. I have to say, this was quite a wild match. Quite a wild match. And it seemed like at first there was some hesitation between Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston to attack each other. Because we got to remember, Mox and Eddie Kingston are good friends. They're good, close, tight friends. But at the same time, Eddie Kingston hates Claudio with a passion. I mean, he hates his guts. So I know that there was definitely going to be some spots with those two engaging head on. But overall, everybody got involved. This was a great match. Everybody got involved. And you know what? It really could have gone either way. And there was even a moment where Eddie Kingston sacrificed himself jumping in the way of an attack on Jon Moxley. And, the Bucks and Hangman, they didn't take too kindly to that. But for the most part, this was a very enjoyable match. And surprisingly, I did not expect this, but Tomohiro Ishii, the Stone Pitbull, picks up the victory for his team after hitting Wheeler Yuta with a vertical drop brainbuster and covering him for the 1-2-3. I have to say, I did not expect Ishii to pick up the victory for the team. I did not expect that at all. I really didn't. And then afterwards, there was some bickering back and forth between Eddie Kingston and the Young Bucks and Adam Page. Eddie Kingston showed his respect to Tomohiro Ishii and whatnot, but just, I guess maybe Kingston wanted to get the victory or just wanted to get his hands on Claudio much more. But it's definitely not over between Claudio and Eddie Kingston. They're definitely going to continue that until it eventually turns into a one-on-one match, and then they're going to go wild. Okay, let's go into our next match. One second. Just got to pull up the graphic. Hey, where you at? Ah, there you are. All right, time for the ladies to get it on. We had the AEW Women's World Championship on the line. The champion, Toni Storm, defends her title against current NJPW Strong Women's Champion, Willow Nightingale. Now, of course, Saraya and Ruby Soho accompanied Toni Storm. Of course, Willow Nightingale didn't have any backup on her, so she was already at a disadvantage. But it was good to see these two ladies go at it. It was definitely back and forth. Both really, the momentum kept going back and forth between both these ladies. But when it was all said and done, Toni Storm was able to get the last laugh. And of course, with the Outcast, celebrating with her. It was just, Willow was at too much of a disadvantage. She was just at too much of a disadvantage. And when it was all said and done, Toni Storm hit Storm Zero on Willow, picked up the 1, 2, 3, and Toni Storm, still your AEW Women's World Champion. I know many probably wanted to see Willow 2 belts, but honestly, like I said, I like Willow, but she didn't need 2 belts. She really didn't need 2 belts. I mean, she's already going to be showcased well in general, and she has a title, which she's already got a few defenses under. So she really didn't need that second belt. She didn't need a second belt. So that's just me. I thought the right call was made. All right, let's see. Next up, here we go. We had the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship on the line as Kenny Omega, the champion, defended against the aerial assassin, the Billy Goat, Will Ospreay. Also, shout out to Will Ospreay busting out the elevate me to the sky. Bringing back that old theme. I thought that was pretty cool. And then Kenny Omega busting out his Devil Sky theme from back in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So both of these greats busting out their older entrance themes. So I thought that was really cool. But I must say, I gotta keep it real with y'all. While their Wrestle Kingdom match was awesome, was excellent, personally, I think this topped it. I honestly think this topped it. Some may say by a lot, some may say by a little bit, but I really believe this Forbidden Door match showdown between these two topped their Wrestle Kingdom showdown. I really do. I really do. Whew. This was hard hitting, back and forth. Both men got bloodied up. I mean, just... whew, man. It was crazy. It was really crazy. I mean, we had Oz Cutters, we had V Triggers, we had Snapdragons, we had Hidden Blades, Stormbreakers, even Will Ospreay hitting a one-wing angel on Kenny Omega and him kicking out at 1. He kicked out at 1. We even saw a screwdriver be used. I mean, Poison Ranas. Like, these two hit each other with, like, everything. It was crazy. And, wow. Just hard hitting. But slightly overbooked. Slightly overbooked. And let me tell you why. So Don Callis was pretty much in the corner of Will Ospreay, and he had 2 security guards to protect himself from Kenny Omega. Here's what didn't make any sense. So the referee, early to middle of the match, threw out Don Callis. Sent him to the back. You're out of here. Don Callis still came back later and got involved in the match. Clearly in front of the ref. Ref, why didn't you get rid of Don Callis? You already sent him to the back. You already said that he had to go. He had to go to the back. He comes back out and you do nothing. That makes no sense. So that's why I feel like this was slightly overbooked. But that whole sequence made no sense to me. How are you going to throw somebody out and then they later on come back out in the same match? You see them. You clearly see them. And you don't do anything. You don't kick them out. You do nothing. Like, that made no sense. That really made no sense at all. But when it was all said and done, Will Ospreay was able to put the final nail in the coffin, hitting one more hidden blade, and then hitting one more Stormbreaker on Kenny Omega for the 1, 2, 3, and the Billy Goat has done it. He has defeated Kenny Omega to become the new IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion. You know something? I gotta give mad kudos to Kenny Omega. The dude took a loss on a big stage like that in his home country of Canada. Not only that, in a match where Will Ospreay disrespected the Canadian flag, took a fan's Canadian flag and flossed with it, and even stuck it up his nose. Like, I gotta say that was bold. That was really bold. But mad kudos to Kenny Omega on taking the L in his home country. It's crazy. It's really, really crazy. But the belt is back on Will Ospreay. So definitely 5-star match. Definitely match of the year candidate. Hands down, for sure. And if you ask me, better than their Wrestle Kingdom match. Okay. Let's go to the next match. All right. Okay, next up, we had a trios match. We had the team of Sting, Darby Allin, and Tetsuya Naito taking on the team of Chris Jericho, Minoru Suzuki, and Sammy Guevara. This was a pretty decent match overall. I felt like overall decent match. I definitely liked the posing spot that Jericho, Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki did. I thought that was a really funny spot. You normally don't see Minoru Suzuki do little funny poses like that, but I thought that was really cool. But it was really good to see Jericho and Sting go back and forth. It was even really good seeing Minoru Suzuki and Sting go back and forth. Of course, Sammy Guevara did his thing, him and Naito. But yeah, I felt like all six definitely got a chance to show down with each other, one after the other. And overall, pretty solid match. Was not a fan of the finish, though. Really was not a fan of the finish. There was like a little combo sequence with Sting and Tetsuya Naito. And that was done on Minoru Suzuki. And at the last moment, it was kind of transitioned into kind of sort of like almost like a jackknife pin. And Tetsuya Naito pinned Minoru Suzuki. You know, I was really hoping to see a Destino. But I think it was just, I don't know if it was a botch or what, but that was just a pretty bad finish. But Tetsuya Naito pins Minoru Suzuki to pick up the victory for him, Darby Allin, and Sting. But, yeah, wasn't a fan of the finish. Could have been a much better finish. But, once again, Sting stays undefeated in these big name matches. You know, he's still undefeated. But, yeah, it was good to see Tetsuya Naito in an AEW ring. Okay. And then the main event. Oh, yeah. The main event of Forbidden Door came down to these two gladiators. A special, very special Dream singles match. The American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, takes on the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. Shout out to Bryan Danielson, who came out to his old ROH theme, The Final Countdown. I thought that was really cool. Really, really cool. And then, of course, fans popped for that. Fans popped for Okada. And these two just went at it. A solid match between both of these greats. I mean, two of the best in the world. I mean, Bryan Danielson has made a big name for himself in the indies as well as around the world. Even in AEW and WWE has made a great name for himself. Okada, a big name in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And it was just really a dream come true to see these two greats duke it out, battle it out in the squared circle. And it did not disappoint. It did not disappoint at all. Back and forth. I think probably my only complaint was it would have been nice to see Okada attempt at least one money clip. At least one money clip, but they didn't fit it in. But this was back and forth. Got to give credit to Bryan Danielson. He kicked out of a Rainmaker. He kicked out of a Rainmaker. That was big. That was really big. There was a lot of Busaiku knee kicks. Even a couple of label block attempts. A landslide. Like, so much offense from both competitors. But when it was all said and done, Bryan Danielson was able to do enough damage to Okada. Locked in. Oh, and not to mention, with one arm, locked in a label lock / variation of a omoplata, had both arms locked in using his legs on Okada. And while it looked like Okada was about to get closer to the rope, once that omoplata was locked in, once those legs locked those arms and just started bending, Okada had no choice but to tap out. And ladies and gentlemen, Bryan Danielson did something that hasn't been done since 2015. He submitted the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, made him tap. The last person to do that was Shinsuke Nakamura in 2015. And the American Dragon, June 25th, 2023, made the Rainmaker tap out in the main event of Forbidden Door. What a finish. Even with one arm, the American Dragon gets a ginormous victory over one of the best to ever have wrestled for New Japan Pro Wrestling in Kazuchika Okada. Wow, what a match. Another match of the year candidate. So we had two at Forbidden Door. Unfortunately, it looks like, which we can now see why Bryan Danielson could only use one arm. Word is he has a fractured forearm and that he is supposed to be missing, I think they said 8 weeks or something like that. So Bryan Danielson's going to be out for a little while. Apparently in the post-media scrum, he had on a big black cast. But, speedy recovery for Bryan Danielson. But that's a ginormous win for his career. That's huge. That is really, really huge. Maybe someday they will run it back. Maybe in a New Japan Pro Wrestling ring. Maybe. It's possible. But I hope they get a chance to run that back. I really do. Because that's huge. Because like I said, before Bryan Danielson, the last person that made Okada tap out was Shinsuke Nakamura in 2015. So, yeah, this was a big deal. This was a very big deal. But that's Forbidden Door 2. And word is that AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling, it looks like they may start making this an annual thing. There hasn't been an official word, but I think the idea is that this is going to be a yearly event, which is great. That's big news. That's really, really big news. So hopefully that is true. And who knows? Maybe next year, depending, see how things go, maybe next year they'll try to pull off a Forbidden Door, AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling, and maybe they'll include Stardom. Or maybe they'll do an AEW Stardom Forbidden Door, maybe with a more focus on the women. But if you ask me, I think it would be better if Stardom just do a USA tour. I think they should do a USA tour. That way they can at least get their feet wet in the United States. But that's just my opinion. Shout out to the recently retired Jumbo Princess, Himeka. Was able to get one of her shirts. But anyway, that'll be all for this video. Like I said, Forbidden Door, once again successful. Definitely enjoyed the show. Thankfully, the power didn't go out during the main card, so I was able to watch the whole main card, but I had to go back and watch the pre-show 0 Hour, which is all cool. Which is all cool. But yeah, overall great show. Definitely enjoyed it. And yeah, we'll have to see what happens next. If I remember correctly, I believe All In is going to be their next big event, which of course that's in August 27th. That's in London at Wembley Stadium. And who knows, there was a lot of folks that I was talking to that were thinking maybe we might get a Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay run back this time in London. Remember, Will Ospreay's from England, so maybe we'll get that run back. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. And they got a while. But yeah, they got a while. But All In, August 27th in Wembley Stadium. And then they announced All Out, which will be at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. That's September 3rd. So, All In first, and then All Out. So, definitely have those upcoming shows to look forward to for AEW. But yeah. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Don't forget to check out the link to Game Beauty. Do some shopping. Use that promo code. And also, let me know what y'all thought about this year's AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door. What did you think of the matches? Do you think this year's was better than last year's? You know? What did you think of the outcomes? Were your predictions right? But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. For another Pro Wrestling Talk, brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming here on the U to the Tube, my name is Jason Ingram. Hope everybody has a blessed evening, and I will see y'all in the next video. Take care. Laters.